Moving on to 14.2, we will be looking at inference for two-way tables. In this video you'll see what we mean by a two-way table. You were introduced to two-way tables earlier in the book, so we'll take a look at those one more time. And we will see how we perform chi-square tests about these variables that we're looking at, categorical variables we're looking at in the two-way tables. Again, we'll be comparing a set of observations versus a set of expectations. You will learn two new tests in section 14.2. We'll get to those in just a moment. We are still looking to answer like these. Is the population mix in Eden Prairie the same as it was in 20 years ago? Do freshmen and seniors skip the same subjects when they skip classes? And finally, is there a relationship between smoking habits of teenagers and the smoking habits of parents? This particular question right here we covered in 14.1 with the goodness of fit test, taking a look at the distribution of proportions to see if they fit with what we would expect. These two are new right here, and those are the two new tests that we'll be learning in 14.2. They will be the test for homogeneity right here and the test for association or independence right here. The one thing you're going to want to note right away in these two new situations is the difference between the two. When you're doing a test for homogeneity, you're looking at two or more populations. We will be looking at categorical variables and the proportions that they take. And for tests for association, you're only looking at a single population. So you want to make sure you keep these straight. Two or more populations, one category. We're looking at a test for homogeneity. We're looking at a single population, two categories. We're going to be doing a test for independence or association. Let's take a look at a couple of examples here and see if you can guess which one is the test for homogeneity and which one is the test for association or independence. So take a moment to read these over and see if you can guess which one is which. If you guessed test for homogeneity for this one right here, you are correct. And the reason is because we're dealing with two or more populations. We're dealing with three different ethnic groups of parents. This one would be the test for independence. Okay, and the reason being that we're only looking at one population, students. We took a sample from the student population, and we want to see if there's some sort of relationship between a couple of categorical variables, grade and the hours per week in extracurricular activities. So a little recap here on the statistical methods for dealing with multiple comparisons. First, when we are doing multiple comparisons, we are going to look at an overall test for the data to see if there's any evidence of differences among the parameters, in this case proportions, that we want to compare. And after you run that test, the second thing you might want to do is do a detailed follow-up to decide which of the individual parameters differ and go ahead and estimate how large of a difference actually exists. So that is our first video for 14.2, just an introduction into those two new methods or two new tests, test for homogeneity and the test for independence. In our next video we'll walk through a couple of examples, or one example for each one of these tests.